I'm Kara and I'm 28 years old and I have a port wine stain birthmark on the right side of my face, actually going back up into my hairline. And over the years, several people have asked me how I cover my birthmark and what works best when I want to wear makeup. And I finally decided to make a video to show you or anyone else who might be looking for a recommendation what I do to cover my birthmark. I've tried a lot of different products over the years, and right now the thing that the thing I think works the best and isn't as cakey as some of the other things I've tried over the years is Mercier, and I'm actually not even sure I'm saying that right. But I use the mineral press powder. So that right now seems to be what feels the lightest and gives the most coverage that you can actually build upon. So I'll just show you in a few minutes here basically what I do as part of my routine, again, when I choose to wear makeup. So the first thing that you'll need is any sort of moisturizer or primer. This will help to set the powder. So again, I'm using Mercier right now, but I've kind of been on this kick for the last couple of years. I've tried a lot of different things. So just put a little bit of whatever that is and then just put it all over your face. Alright, and then it's actually really simple. After this, I just open the powder. And you can just do this with your finger actually. For the areas of my birthmark that I know are the darkest, you can either use the sponge provided or just use your fingertip and swirl it. You can see I've used most of this already. And where the areas where you know it's darkest, so for me it's right here on my cheek and right here on my nose, you can just start putting a little bit. And this actually doesn't take very long. Maybe under my eye. Again, just anywhere that I know it's a little darker. And I know that from over the years covering it, what sticks out the most, and it seems to be, the areas that I'm covering. Okay, you can probably already tell in the video that it's already starting to look covered quite a bit. That's just using my finger. And sometimes I do the same thing. Just lightly in other spots on the other side just to balance it out. But you can already tell I've kind of taken the edge off the brightness of the red. So really all I do after that is take a brush. I probably should have gone through everything you need at the beginning, so maybe that'll be a second take. But you just brush it like this. Here, I'll move the sponge. So swirl it around. And another thing that I would recommend is that you do this in a robe, because you're going to make a mess all over your clothing if you don't do this in a robe. So I usually wear a robe and do this before I change into my clothes. So swirl around on your powder, then fill your brush, shake it off in your sink, and it does make a mess in your sink, so I just shook it off in the sink. And then just go in circles on your face, and obviously you need to do both sides of your face. So and repeat this. And again, this is the way that I've found it's lightest and most natural, versus using a concealer over your whole face. Another thing that I do is make sure that I have natural light coming in, so you'll notice there's a lot of backlight behind me. but the natural light I think helps me do a better job of making it look more natural. So, and again, because it's on my eyes, make sure you cover your eyes to kind of blend everything in. Okay, and really that's it as far as the coverage. What I am, so it is summer, you can tell I have some sun on the rest of my body, so it looks kind of strange for my face to just be really pale. So I do use some sort of, and it's really whatever bronzer you want to use, and just take a little bit on a brush, and then I fishy lips, and then just do some on my cheeks to make it look like, so part of, I have laser treatments to treat my port wine stain about, well, I hope to do it like once a quarter, so 4 times a year, but I actually only probably get there 2 or 3 times a year. So because of that, I can't have any sun on my face, so other people with birthmarks can probably relate to that. So I wear a lot of sunscreen, so my face is usually a lot more pale than the rest of my body. So what I'm doing is I just put a little bit of the bronzer here, so if you do the fishy lips, you just go along your cheekbone and blend it in, and then up along the hairline. And I did a little on my nose, so just think of where the natural light would come in and hit your face if you were to get tan. And then I usually go back with my big brush and just kind of try to blend everything in so it doesn't look fake. And I was actually outside a lot today, so I'm probably sunburnt here actually, but you can see the bronzer helps match a little bit more. Maybe since I'm sunburnt, I'll go a little bit darker today. But really that's all it is. And you can see it covers pretty well. You can see a little bit along my hairline where my birthmark still is. But that's really all I do. And then the other thing I would recommend is just doing whatever eyeshadow you prefer to do to draw attention to the features of your eyes. So I'll pause it now and then we'll come back at the end. But if you do something a little bit more with your eyes to make them pop, that usually helps detract away from any of the redness that's maybe showing through. But for the most part, I think you can tell from when we started, you can't really tell where my birthmark is anymore. I'm done with the eye makeup, and hopefully the way that I did it, you're seeing what I mean by it makes your eyes pop a little bit more so people look at your eyes. So the last thing you might be noticing are my lips, and because I brushed that over, like all over the place earlier to kind of blend in the powder, there's some of that on my lips, and I actually really don't like lipstick. So all I do is get a little bit of lotion and put it on my hand, and then take a Q-tip, and then I just run it over my lips. And because of my birthmark, my lips are actually pretty red, and they're pretty naturally red anyway, and I prefer not to wear anything. So I often just take a Q-tip and run it along my lip line to get, with lotion of course, to wipe off lipstick. Or not lipstick, to wipe off the powder. If it's a special occasion, I might put some lip gloss on or something. If I'm just decide to cover my birthmark, just kind of on an ordinary day, or to go out to dinner with something, or to go out to dinner or something, I don't necessarily put anything on my lips. So this is it. And this is all I do to cover my birthmark. It's a routine that really works for me. It's easy. I would say the worst part about it is the mess that it makes in your sink. And my husband can actually attest to that, but usually when I'm done with this, I'll just take hot water and use my hand to wipe out the sink to get the makeup off from when I shook it out. But I think you can see, and I'll get up close, you can't really tell at all, maybe a little bit here, but you can't really tell at all that I have a birthmark. So this is what I do when I want to cover it. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I've been meaning to do this for a while. I went online today to look up what information is out there because I'm always curious if there's something better, and it looks like people are really, or companies at least, are really trying to push products that are like heavy concealers, and just as far as like how much time it takes to use those from experience and how cakey and heavy they feel, I found that this is actually a much better solution for me that I can do in a really short amount of time. Anyway, I hope this helps those of you who are looking for information like this, and again, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks!